Hey, I'm live. Let me turn this down just a smidge. I don't know if my microphone will pick that up, but I like that music playing when I'm around the house and creating content. So if my microphone's picking that up, hopefully it's not. I'm hopefully not infringing on anybody. So I want to talk about these. These are forget-me-nots. Okay, and the symbolism of forget-me-nots. Here we go. Forget-me-not symbolism. Forget-me-not symbolize true love and respect. When you give someone these tiny blooms, it represents a promise that you will always remember them and will keep them in your thoughts. They are also considered a symbol of fidelity and faithfulness, which I love that word, fidelity. And so sometimes when I'm substitute teaching, I just write like large words on the board and then I talk about what they mean to the kids. And that's one of them that I like to use. I think that encouraging high levels of vocabulary in young people, there's a verbal intelligence that many people ignore. Okay, ready? I don't really believe in dumbing things down, people. I don't believe in dumbing down my resume. Okay, here we go. So I get all kinds of tips like that. Like you'll get hired, or if you need a side hustle, you need to dumb down your resume, take your credentials off. Okay, whatever. All right, going back to forget-me-nots. Okay, here we go. Are you ready? Second thing, forget-me-not, legend and lore. The forget-me-not moniker, Moniker, has some of the most interesting legends behind it. One describes a German knight who was strolling with his lady along the banks of the Danube River. The lady saw pretty blue flowers, but they had been pulled loose by the river's flow and were about to disappear downstream. She wanted to save the flowers, so her chivalrous knight jumped into the water, and he could not fight the strong current, so he tossed the flowers onto the bank as he was carried off into the sea. And as he was being carried off, he called out, Vergi mir nicht. Vergi mir nicht. I'm probably saying that wrong. Germans are like, yeah, they have that like, I don't know how, I got to believe German men can speak romantically, but I have a hard time with that. I just think of engineers when I think of German men. Okay. Vergis mein nicht. I don't know how to say it, which is German for forget me not. Another legend says that German knight didn't leap into the river after the flowers, but rather bent to pick some for his lady. When the weight of his armor caused him to topple into the water, and then he called out, "Forget me not," as he was swept away. A separate German tale. So very interesting. A separate German tale says that the name was chosen when God named flowers. And I'm a Christian, so I believe Adam named the flower, just so you know, but read Genesis. I don't care. Okay, so a separate German tale says the name was chosen when God was naming the flowers, and this one was the last. And the flower cried out, "Forget me not, O Lord." To which God pronounced, "Well, that shall be your name." It's like naming a dog or something, right? Names matter. All right. So that was like the symbolism and then the legend. And I have some more information. Okay. So, and how we're about 5 minutes in. I think you can bear with me. Forget me not. This is another little tidbit of information about this sweet flower. Okay, forget me nots. And let me see if I can do this. Move it. And then Mm, I don't know. I feel like the glare is terrible on here, but hopefully most seed packets have information on the back on how to take care and plant. Getting seeds to grow, they don't always do it. Let me just tell you. Okay, so here we go. Forget me nots. Forget me not care and tips. Skip. One thing I love, YouTube, please don't ever change me being able to skip the advertisements. I love that about you. Mwah! All right. Forget me not care and tips. Hardy in zones 5 through 9. So if you go on the web, you will see that there are growing zones around the globe. There's all kinds of heat maps out there, and you can find like corruption, you can find growing zones, you can get climates, you can see current weather. Oh my gosh, during like instead of doing National Weather Service during the eclipse week, I did international weather, and I don't even know, but it was like, I don't know, I felt like I tapped into like the Webb telescope and stuff, because it was either, you know, from one of the satellites or something. But I mean, it was super cool. All right, so and then if you need an author to check out Og Mondino. He's one of the authors that like literally took my breath away. I read 3 of his books in one weekend or in one trip, and like, oh my gosh, it's so sweet when that happens. Okay, so here we go. So cheers to creators, right? Okay, so we've got, so this is just the care and tips. So they're called biennials, biennials, and will take 2 years to complete their growing cycle of flowering, and then they produce a lot. These things are crazy. And so they will die back in the winter time. They will resprout in the spring. And once you have forget-me-nots in your garden, you will never have to reseed them, which is so cool. Okay. And they're purple. It looks like they're blue, but mine always in my garden, they look purple to me. So these little plants enjoy part shade, but they will tolerate full sun and in many areas. So during hot summers, however, they will do better in a bit of shade, and especially on sultry afternoons. This makes them ideal as bedding plants and along borders where taller plants can shade them slightly. Because they are a forest plant, they like rich organic soil that's moist but not soggy. And finally, I'll wrap this up. Thanks for sticking with me for like a 10-minute flower lesson. The best time to plant forget-me-nots is in the spring. So if you hope to see the pretty blue flowers in the following season, pick a good spot for them. They will bloom between May and October each year after you plant them. So it sounds like the first year, just expect them to be dormant, or maybe if the plants come up, don't expect any blooms. One thing to consider when planting forget-me-nots is they can take over a garden if they're not managed, which I have a number of plants that do this. So don't be afraid to pull out and manage your gardens, right? Like, yeah, it's a weed if you don't want it there. So, like gardens need to be trained just like animals. So many gardeners allow forget-me-nots to sow themselves to keep like their patch growing year after year, but all that seed may mean that you'll find yourself weeding the forget-me-nots out of the spots that you didn't want them. Just don't be shy. If you don't want them there, just move them or pull them out and, mulch them up. So yeah. Well, anyways, God bless you. I hope you enjoyed my little little quick lesson here, and I hope that it's beautiful, sunny, and that you're having a good day. And if you're not having a good day, I just hope that you will do something to cheer yourself up. Chances are you need a little self-love, but many times if you give somebody else love, so if you be kind to somebody else, many times there's just like, I call this, when I tell the kids, I call that, it's like an intrinsic reward. And so it's pay. So kindness pays dividends, right? Am I right? I'm right. Right? Right. All right. See ya. And thanks for joining me. Check me out at Thor Wellness Group. If you're looking for consulting, professional consulting, counseling, not counseling as in, I'm not a certified counselor per se, but I have 20 plus years of finance, HR experience, and I've been coaching and counseling people within corporations for at least that amount of time, plus external coaching and counseling for solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, small businesses, medium businesses. And then, of course, I just mentioned my corporate, career stuff. So God bless you. Mwah. Take care. And yeah, if you know me, say hello. I would love it. Thanks. Bye.